Hi everybody, it's Beth, and today I'm making a fall ribbon wreath. I used 8 spools of ribbon from Dollar Tree, some pipe cleaners, a 14-inch wreath ring also from Dollar Tree, a little hanging sign from Dollar Tree, and some hot glue. First thing I did was took 4 of the spools of ribbon, opened them up, and then you'll put them one on top of the other. And then I just let them drop to the ground so they're easier to work with. And then to start, I take my first pipe cleaner, which I had cut them all in half, and I wrap it around the second wire from the inside of the frame. Pinch the ends of the 4 ribbons that are put together and put it in between the twisted pipe cleaner, and then twist the pipe cleaner a few more times and tuck it in the back. And so then you'll bubble up your ribbon to make a loop. And I looped it about 7.5 inches. I just took my second pipe cleaner and tucked it around the second wire on the wreath frame and the ribbon, twisted it in the back. So then you have your first little loop. So I didn't measure the next ones, I just matched it up to my first loop. So you'll just keep that going all the way around the wreath frame until it's completely full. And I did 4 loops in each section. And this ribbon is 2.5 inches wide, and it is all wired ribbon. So after the first set of spools of ribbon were done, I just finished as many loops as I could and then cut off the excess, tucked it in the back, and then started the same exact way I did on the first set of spools. So I just made sure that I had my loop, about the same length, about 7.5 inches, and then just started my loops again with those second spools and finished it until I had my 4 loops in each section. After you finish your last loop, you'll just cut off the excess and tuck that piece in the back. After I had them all filled in, I flipped it over and just trimmed up all of my pipe cleaners. Then after those are all cut, you'll flip it over and pull apart each of the loops to open up all of the different ribbons until it's nice and full all the way around. Next, I took my sign from Dollar Tree, removed the bow and the hanger, and cut a piece of ribbon. It's probably about 18 to 24 inches. I didn't really measure. It was just a leftover piece from one of the spools. Hot glued it to the back of the sign so it covered it entirely. And then I placed it on the back of the wreath frame, just making sure that it was showing through nicely on the front. Then you'll take that top piece of ribbon, tuck it around the first part of the wire frame on the inside, and do the same on the bottom. So it'll be tucked on the inner frame on the top and inner frame on the bottom. And then you'll take those pieces of ribbon, pull them tight, and hot glue them into place on the back of the sign. And then that is it. I used some of these burlap leaves from Dollar Tree. This stencil I got from Amazon. A pizza pan from Dollar Tree, mineral chalk paint and barn red acrylic paint and hot glue. I started by sanding the pizza pan just to make the paint adhere a little better. And then I painted the entire pizza pan front and back with the mineral chalk paint, and I did 2 coats, drying it in between. Next, once that was dry, I took my stencil and put it on the center of the pizza pan, and then took the barn red acrylic paint, and I just did a little bit of paint at a time and just kind of dabbed it on the stencil until the entire thing was covered. Next, I added some hot glue to the very rim of the pizza pan and hot glued down the burlap leaves. I only ended up using 3 of the colors. I didn't use the orange ones. And I just went around and hot glued, kind of alternating the colors until the entire rim was covered. And then took some more leaves and hot glued them on top of those first sets, just a little bit more inward towards the center, and did another row just like the first one. And then once I had it all filled in, I decided I wanted a bow. So I just took some ribbons that were similar in color. They were both from Dollar Tree. And I started a loop, maybe about 8 inches, and then folded it and then just kept wrapping it around itself until I had about 4 loops. And then just cut off the excess. And then I did the same thing to the next one, just maybe a little bit smaller, maybe about 7 inches, and had my 4 loops. And then once I had both of those done, I cut out little triangles on both sides, right in the center. And that's where I'll attach my twine. That's just so you can move around the ribbons, the loops a little bit better. So then I just attached my twine to the center, pulling it nice and tight, wrapping it around a couple times and just knotting it. And I did that on both of those sets of ribbon. And then I just opened up all of the ribbon and made the loops nice and fluffy. And then I just left the twine on there nice and long so I could connect them together. So I just took my ribbon that was slightly smaller and put it on the front and wrapped that twine around the other larger set. And then took the same ribbons, cut 2 long strips. I did not measure, just cut it how long I wanted the tail. Twisted them in the center, tied some twine around it, and left the twine long again so I could attach it with that twine. Just kind of picked up one of the sets of ribbon and tied it in between those 2 sets, and then cut off the excess twine. And then I just tailed all of my ends of my ribbon. And then before I attached the bow, I had to make a hanger. So I just flipped the pizza pan over, making sure that it was going to be centered before I flipped it. And then hot glued it to the back of the pan. Took some burlap ribbon and hot glued it right over the twine to hold it into place. And then flipped it back over and attached my bow with some hot glue. And that is it. Very simple, but looks really adorable. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.